I want to speak to every mother and father out there that's just given birth to a baby. If your doctor, your pediatrician has said, you better make sure that your grandparents and everybody visiting you has gotten the DTaP vaccine because your baby is susceptible to pertussis and it could kill your baby, stop. Stop right there. If you're a grandparent and your children have just said, if you want to visit your brand new grandson or your brand new granddaughter, but you're going to have to go to the doctor and get a DTaP vaccine before you visit our house, stop. Don't do it. You are being lied to. This is one of the biggest lies we've ever seen, and is lying to you right on your television. This is propaganda at its best. I'm going to explain why right after this piece of total bullcrap.
There's something out there. It's a highly contagious disease. It can be especially serious, even fatal to infants. Unfortunately, many people who spread it may not know they have it. It's called whooping cough, and the CDC recommends everyone, including those around babies, make sure their whooping cough vaccination is up to date. Understand the danger your new grandchild faces. Talk to your doctor or pharmacist about you and your family getting a whooping cough vaccination today.
All right, there it is, GSK mentioning that the CDC is telling you to get a whooping cough vaccine because you don't want to turn into the big bad wolf and put a baby in danger. It's a lie, folks. Stop right there. I'm going to explain why that's a lie. First, I want to talk about what we consider a lie and what is truth in advertising and how important is it. Take a look at this. This is the Federal Trade Commission, and this is what they say, truth in advertising. When consumers see or hear an advertisement, whether it's on the internet, radio, or television, or anywhere else, federal law says that ad must be truthful, not misleading, and when appropriate, backed by scientific evidence. Very good. There you have it, scientific evidence. So what is the scientific evidence that you will be protected by a DTaP vaccine and that the baby will be protected because you got a DTaP vaccine? It's actually the exact opposite. I want to point you to a study that was done by scientists from the FDA, and this is what the headline read. Acellular pertussis vaccines protect against disease but fail to prevent infection and transmission in a non-human primate model. Now, what was this all about? Essentially, they did a primate study, which is the gold standard of safety testing. There is no higher standard of testing than to use primates, monkeys or baboons, because they're the closest to human beings. We can't spray or inject viruses into a human being. That would be illegal, so we do it to primates. This is the only study that would ever find out, are you stopping transmission of a disease if you get the vaccine? But here I want to explain to you exactly how this study was done because it can be very confusing, so bear with me. Here's how it went. We had 4 groups of baboons in this study, okay? 4 groups of baboons in this study. Now, this group, the black monkeys we'll use right here, they all received the DTP vaccine. Boom, each one of them got the DTP vaccine. Now, what is DTP? This is the old vaccine for pertussis that we used to use. It's the whole cell pertussis. The problem was it was causing brain damage in kids. It is arguably the vaccine that caused the Vaccine Injury Compensation Act, which was, we better be free from liability because too many kids are being destroyed by this vaccine. If you've been watching Highwire, you also know we're trying to get UNICEF to stop using this vaccine in the third world because all first world nations know how dangerous it is. Anyway, we gave this group the DTP vaccine. Next, we used our brand new DTaP vaccine on the pink baboons right here. Boom, we gave them all DTaP. Now, what does DTaP mean? It has this little a, meaning acellular pertussis. It's not the whole cell of the pertussis, therefore it's DTaP. We gave them this group. This is the common vaccine used all around the world. Now, the third group of baboons are totally unvaccinated. And the fourth group, the blue monkeys here, all have natural immunity. Why? Because they already had the virus in a live virus circumstance, not injected with anything. They came in contact with pertussis and got over it, had a cough for a while, they got over it, and now they are immune for life. This is the strongest group of baboons, and it's going to prove out in this study. So then what do they do with these 4 groups of baboons? They have them in separate cages, and they come in with the pertussis bacteria. Okay? They're pertussis bacteria, and they put them all in contact with pertussis. Here we go. Bacteria. If I said virus accidentally, I didn't mean it. Bacteria, pertussis bacteria, sprayed on all of them in an aerosol mist. Now, here's what's interesting. The DTP group, they analyzed the lungs. Remember, pertussis bacteria colonizates in the lungs. That's what gives you that horrendous cough and can make a small infant die on rare occasions. Well, in the DTP group, there was just a tiny bit of the colonization, not enough to ever be contagious, so the vaccine worked. Now let's go over to the DTaP group. Remember, this is the acellular pertussis. This group that got sprayed with pertussis, they had full colonization of the bacteria in their lungs, meaning they had the entire disease. They were carrying it. The only difference was they had no cough. They didn't know they had it, but it was inside their lungs. Then this group of unvaccinated, just as we would suspect, all got pertussis and were hacking their fool heads off. Okay? They weren't protected and they felt like crap. I'm being honest here. This is exactly how this went, so stay with me. And then lastly, the group that had once had pertussis and are now naturally immune, guess what? Not a single bit of colonization. They are perfectly healthy. They will be healthy for life because, as we've said, real herd immunity requires that you get the disease. They've had the disease. They will never get it again. This is the safest group of people to ever visit your baby. Grandma says, oh, I had pertussis 15 years ago. Come on over. You're invited. Now, what I want to talk about really is these two groups. DTP did just fine, okay? This group did better than anybody because they'd already had the disease. But now it comes down to these two groups, which is what this commercial is all about. What they're telling you is this is the safer group to have visit your baby. Here's what I want you to think about. Now, how do they know? So they know that it's got colonizing in the lungs. So let's just step aside for 1 second because they did a side study. They took one of these pertussis-covered DTaP monkeys and they put it in a cage with a totally unvaccinated, healthy monkey, and they let them sit together. And guess what? Every time they did this experiment, this totally unvaccinated monkey got the disease from this vaccinated DTaP monkey. Fully contagious and dangerous. Just as, so now let's go back over here. Both these groups are admittedly totally contagious with pertussis. This one is hacking his fool head off. Oh, I can't. Honey, Grandma calls. She feels terrible, and she says, I'm not visiting the baby because I have this atrocious cough, and I probably shouldn't come over. That's what the unvaccinated group is going to do. But this group, just as contagious, but because they've had the vaccine, are not coughing. They have no idea they are fully contagious with pertussis. So they're coming over to visit baby, just like your doctor said, just like the commercial told you to do. Get your DTaP vaccine, except it's made you a silent potential killer. So in the end, who is the real wolf in this story? The DTaP group. This is the most dangerous group on the planet. Now, if you want to avoid getting a cough and getting pertussis, the vaccine works for that. But you will never, after that, know whether you're a carrier. You will never know whether it's safe to be around your baby. On the other hand, this group will have pertussis once. They'll be really sick for a few days, maybe a couple of weeks. They'll take some vitamin C or some vitamin A and some vitamin D and boost their immune system. But once they're done with that cough, they will never get it again. So they can visit any baby they want for the rest of their lives safely. They can also know, because they have a cough, they shouldn't come over to mommy and daddy and baby's house. That's the facts. That's the science. And there's never been a greater display of false advertising than that horrific ad by GlaxoSmithKline. Someone should probably sue. I might just think about it.